Hi everyone, today we are going to talk about the demand, which is a fundamental topic in economics. So demand is the amount of good or service that the consumer is willing and able to purchase. Here there are two keywords, one is willing and another one is able. Because for example, I might be willing to buy laptop, but if I don't have enough money to buy it, it means that I am not able to purchase, it is not counted as demand. When we talk about demand, we are talking about effective demand. And in that case, the consumer should be both willing and able to purchase to be counted as a demand. Demand can be for good, for example, demand for laptop, or it can be for service, for example, haircut service or other service. And we have individual demand and we have market demand. Individual demand is a demand of individual people. For example, your demand for laptop, your demand for haircut service. But market demand is a sum of those individual demands. For example, here I wrote two names. One is Kenan and one is Nilay. We are going to fill their quantity demanded for each price. Here, note that I wrote quantity demanded, not the demand, because demand is a general term that we use, but quantity demanded is a specific term for each price. So if you write the amount of product the consumer is able and willing to buy at specific prices, then we call it as quantity demanded, not as a demand. So let's fill the Kenan quantity demanded for each price. And let's clarify which product we are talking about. Let's say textbook. And now I ask Kenan, at price $5, what's your quantity demanded for textbook? And let's say he says 10. So he is willing and able to buy 10 textbooks at price $5. Now I am asking, what if the price rises to $8? It's the same textbook, but this time price is $8. He would say, okay, let's have a quantity demanded 7. And I am asking further, what's price $12? Let's say he says 5. For price 16, he says 4. And for price $20, he says 2. You see the pattern. As price increases, our quantity demanded declines. And that's intuitive. The more expensive products are, the less we want to buy. Think about yourself when you go to the market. Are you happy when the prices are high, or are you happy when the prices are low? So this negative relationship between price and quantity demanded always holds. When price increases, quantity demanded decreases. And the same holds with Nilay. I will just fill quickly. And in order to find market demand, we just sum them up. Suppose in the market there are only two people, Kenan and Nilay, and we will just sum their quantity demanded. At price 5, one demanded 10, another one demanded 20, so the sum will be 30. In similar way, we will just sum all of them and we will get quantity demanded in the market. So in general, we work market demand, not the individual demand. Yes, in some problem set, you will also see individual demands. The logic is the same. It's just one is about the person, another one is about the sum of all people. Now we will come to draw the demand curve. Actually, drawing the demand curve is easy. We just need to clarify in the graph what's x-axis and what's y-axis. In this case, y-axis is price and x-axis is quantity demanded. And let's just fill this quantity demanded 18, 16, 15, and 10. Now, in order to draw this curve, we will just map. Okay, it's just in mathematics, perhaps you have learned how to draw the graph using the points, and it's the same. We will find the points and we will combine, and at the end we will get the demand curve. For example, the price $5 and the respective quantity demanded is 20. Then that will be 1 point. Then we go with the price $8 and respective quantity demanded is 18. The price 12, the respective quantity 16. This is all with dollars. Then price 16, we have 50 quantity demanded, and at price 20, only 10 quantity demanded. So once I have these points, I just need to combine them in order to get the demand curve. So this is the demand curve. The shape sometimes is a straight line, sometimes in this form, but it doesn't actually matter. What matters is the slope. It is downward sloping because it shows a negative relationship. That's why the demand curve is downward sloping. And you can also see from the graph, at high prices, we have low quantity demanded. At low price, we have high quantity demanded. That's why the relationship is negative, and that's why the graph is downward sloping. And as you see, when we talk about the price effect on demand, we will always say it's negative. Whenever we have fall in price, we have extension in demand or increase in quantity demanded. So it's just terminology that we use extension or contraction when we use the word demand. We use increase or decrease when we use the word of quantity demanded. But overall, what you need to keep in mind that the relationship is negative. High price means lower quantity demanded. But more important and a bit difficult part here is what if not the price but other factors change? For example, let's say we have demand for ice cream and it is just standard demand curve. We have price here, we have quantity, and the current price is $5. And let's say this is current quantity demanded. But suddenly some, for example, advertising campaign happen saying that actual ice cream is unhealthy, it has a lot of sugar, so people need to buy less. How we will show this impact on this demand curve? In this case, price stays the same, so it is $5, but there are some other factors that's related to the demand. And if this factor is positive, then that factor will shift the demand curve to the right. It means at the same price, now more people will buy. But if this factor impacts negatively, as I said before, saying that ice cream is unhealthy, people shouldn't buy it, then demand curve will shift to the left. It means that at the same price, now people will buy less. So demand curve shifts when some other factor except price change, because we have to show the impact of this factor. And in order to show this impact, we are just shifting this demand curve. So these two terms is important. One term is movement along the curve. Another term is a shift. So whenever price change, let's draw again demand curve. Whenever price change, for example, before it was 5, 100, now it is 3, 200. Whenever price change, we move along the curve. Curve doesn't shift, we just move along the curve. We move to the right. When the price declines, we move to the left when the price increases. But whenever some other factors change, it can be advertising, it can be taste of people, change in number of population, then we are shifting the demand curve. This other factor can be categorized as this one, like can be change in taste or fashion, can be change in population, advertising campaigns, or change in the price of related product that we will talk about in the next chapter. But today we can focus on these three. So let's talk about change in taste and fashion. Let's talk about change in population. Suppose again we have demand for ice cream. We have price, we have quantity, we have standard demand curve, but there is migration happen into the country. Migration means people immigrated into that country. Number of population increase. If the number of population increase, that means that more people now will buy ice cream, right? Because before we had only 100 people, now we have 1,000 people. Automatically, number of people who are willing and able to buy ice cream will increase. In that case, we will shift this demand curve to the right. Or it can be that some diseases happen, for example, COVID happened and a lot of people died, then number of population is declining. In that case, we will shift the demand curve to the left. Okay, these factors can be even more. In order to answer the related question, you have to just see the relationship with the demand. If the relationship of this factor with the demand is positive, then you will shift this demand curve to the right. But if this relationship of this factor with the demand is negative, then you will shift this demand curve to the left. And that's it. That's the basic logic. If you follow it, you can actually answer a lot of questions. And in the next video, we'll talk about complements and the substitutes. And if you have questions, you can write in the chat below.